morning, everyone. Thank you, Kaho, for giving me the opportunity, and respected chair and jury. I would like to take the permission to present my presentation. Should I go ahead? Thank you very much. Today, I'm representing Fortis Hospital, Mohali. That's a flagship hospital of Fortis Healthcare Group. And I'm proudly presenting because it's a JCI accredited hospitals over 5th time reaccredited and NABH 5th edition implemented. So with this, we have built a culture of safety around the hospital, and going across the hospitals, we do see some various areas where we can find and identify the proactive risk and we can mitigate the hazards. So going with my presentation with mitigation hazards in MRD department. This is a proactive risk assessment and effective implementations of mitigation of measures was achieved. So a brief about medical records department. It's an essential part of the department, part of the hospital. And since the requirement with the critical requirement is the legal statutory component attached to it, the confidentiality, the privacy, and the security elements. So keeping in all these mind, we did a kind of a facility round, and along with the culture of safety survey, we come across various risks which were lying there in the department, and we need to identify them and mitigate them. So did an FMEA to reduce and eliminate the risk. So with going forward with the aim and objective is to identify, assess and mitigate as a principle of FMEA. So there was some risk assessment were drawn along with on the lines of fire safety, electrical and environment in the medical records department. And this project was started in July and was, it was completed around September 2021. So coming back to the slides, the methodology which was adopted based on the DMAC and the proactive risk analysis which we done. So FMEA was drawn because since the FMEA required a teamwork, so we collaborated with a multi-disciplinary team comprising of quality, MRD and the engineering department where all the other utility services were incorporated. So there was a brainstorming sessions which was happened, and we went around where various rounds in the department and also offline, and did some risk scoring as per the RPN. I will be coming back to the next slide. So the failure modes were identified, and those failure modes were prioritized based on their RPN. They were actually, the actions were drawn against the failure modes. So this is the pre-intervention the RPN scoring, which was around 489. So it's going to be a busy slide because, but just to give you an overview, it was around the fire safety, the electrical safety, the utility services, and the other security measures which were, were there, and we need to identify the risk around it, the failure modes. And the actions were drawn around it, and the RPNs which were calculated. So we prioritize according to this intervention FMEA. This was the predicted score of mitigation was like 73% of hazard reduction was predicted that time. When we move towards the interventions, so interventions was that the multidisciplinary team met at various occasions. There were a lot of brainstormings and there was a lot of proactive implementations, whether it's an electrical sockets where we need to have automated circuit breakers which to be implemented. There were we had some systems in place because being a accredited hospital we had, but there were reinforcement which was required, and this was so a lot of measures which were there, which you can see in the slides, and we did some of the mock drills just to see that how the department is prepared for the risk management. So there were some lot of gaps were there, and we did come back with the team, reinforcing the team with various measures so that they can overcome those risks. And so this was the post-intervention FMEA which was there, and we will believe that we predicted around 73% reduction in the risk, but later on ultimately achieved 95% of risk reduction. And this was possible because the fire was a major component, wherein fire safety was a major component which we had, that we need to implement those safety measures around it, because it was quite cluttered. The department was quite cluttered over, so it's a two decade old organization and a department, so a lot of changes was required. And so we did some design modifications of the MRD department within that facility to ensure that our fires, whenever there is any fire, the evacuation should be smooth, and the fire detector, the extinguishers, the powder extinguishers were were strategically placed, and also the emergency lights, which was very important, and the signages are a very important aspect of fire safety. So these were some very small measures, but need to be very, very strategically placed, so that we could reduce the risk to 46. So the RPN came around 46 from 489, and we also did conduct the pre and the post study on the awareness of these risk mitigation measures, which was there as the risk management. So we found that initially our department, the staff were around just 47% compliant to the awareness level of various risks. So we could able to bring them to 100% compliance on the awareness, and a lot of things which you can see here. There are some of the pictures here. So just I want to summarize with, there were some tangible and intangible benefits. The department staff and the employees were finding it safe, and they were so this also strengthened my culture of safety in the organization, and obviously the safety of records was also helped us, ensuring that the losses mitigated. And overall, if I say, that was a 95% reduction in the risk reduction in implementing this FMEA. And if I go component wise, it was 95% reduction in fire related hazards, 97.5% reduction in the electrical related hazards, and 96% reduction in the risk to environment related.
Dr. Shweta?
So thank you very much. I've done with my slides, and
thank you, Shweta. It was nice. And one small thing was, I'm not trying to, I just want to know that you have done JCI for the 5th time, you've gone and so these are risks which you would have really studied earlier itself? In the earlier period, or you have just improvised on it?
So ma'am, thank you very much. It's a wonderful question, and I knew that it's going to be coming up, because it's an ongoing journey. So I mentioned in my first slide, what is the need for this FMEA in the MRD department? It's an ongoing journey. You would understand that the records keep on, because when we keep on seeing the patients, the records keep on happening, and there is a lot of sometimes we tend to overlook these departments and just focusing on the clinical. So this is a scope for improvement. So I was not say that was like a kind of a major hazards which have been reported in the MRD department, but as building a culture of safety, I would look into any kind of eventuality, and so that was an improvement exercise that we took up as a proactive risk.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta, for discussing the FMEA tool which can be applicable to MRD to reduce risk in hospitals. Thank you.